Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your number one local HVAC company. Visit us at comforttemp.com. We'll have JC today. We'll also have Mark Long from the Associated Press. We'll talk a little Gator football, staff additions. Also, he covers the Jaguars, which playing really good football right now. If you missed it last night, Cowboys go down to the Vikings. I think that pretty much seals their fate as they will not make the playoffs this year. Really good NFL football yesterday in the late games. The early games were brutal for the most part. We're just waiting on JC to join us. Justin says on Facebook Live, Troutwine is back home. Yes, Phil Troutwine will be your new offensive line coach. They've made an addition at the quarterback coach, assistant quarterback coach, I think receiver. We'll get all that from Mark Long when he joins us in the second portion of today's show. Daryl says on the Titan Lamar text line that he had a great time at the Jags game yesterday. It's amazing how Trevor Lawrence has improved under Liam Cohen. Yeah, Cohen, he's done a phenomenal job. Chip says, good morning, QB. This is on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Still think Mahomes will win more Super Bowls than Brady. I'm not giving up. He's been to, again, people forget. I think he's been in the league 7 years. He's been to the AFC Championship game every year. Brady, you got to remember, Brady played like 20-something years. Mahomes has played 7, maybe 8. I don't know. JC, how many years has he played?
You're about close, yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, gosh, it just makes you sick that with 20 seconds left in the game, his knee blew up. It's too bad.
Well, it sucks for Micah Parsons. I don't know what his status is, but like he blew his ACL out for no contact injury. NFL late games yesterday were outstanding. I got home, watched some of the second half of the first games, and it was just bad football. Some bad teams.
Well, yeah, some bad teams. Yeah, a lot of double-digit underdogs, and Devontae Adams. I think he stretched his hamstring a little bit. He'll probably miss the Thursday night game against Seattle, which is that game could be for the first seed in the NFC. So those games. We're in week 15 or 14 of the season. It's a 17-week season or 18-week season. It's a long stretch, man. And these guys, it's impossible to come out injury-free. You just hope that some of the key players that you have don't get hurt. Right now, there's a team in Jacksonville that's relatively healthy, and they're playing like it's the 4th, 5th week of the season. They seem very fresh. And you had a quarterback yesterday, QB, that did something that's never been done in the NFL. Did you hear about this? Trevor Lawrence became the first player in NFL history to throw for 300 or more yards, have 5 or more passing touchdowns, run for 50 yards or more, and have a rushing touchdown as well.
Lamar Jackson's never done that?
It's hard to believe, but he's never done that. But, 6 touchdown passes, QB. He was 53 of, this year, or in the last stretch of games, 53 of 89, 900 total yards, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions in the last 3 games. He's 3-0. He's the first. This is the first 10-win season Jacksonville's had since 2017, and he's the first player in franchise history to account for 6 touchdown passes. They were playing the JV yesterday, but it doesn't matter. It's an NFL game, and nobody has done what he did yesterday. I think Frank Frangie's losing his mind right now about the Jaguars. He's so excited, and really they should be 11-3 if they didn't lose a 19-point lead to Houston in Houston a month ago. So,
in the fourth quarter,
yeah. So right now, Jacksonville is easily embedded as the 3 seed, but right behind them is Houston. Houston's got the Raiders coming up next week. Jacksonville has to play at Denver. So I expect if that goes the way you would think it would go, Houston will win. Jacksonville probably won't. But if they do, that keeps them a game ahead of Houston. But if they don't, they're both tied now in the AFC South. And look at the AFC South. You've got Houston and Jacksonville playing great. You've got 3 teams in the NFC West that will likely be in the playoffs, will be in the playoffs, so San Francisco, LA, and Seattle. It's a very concentrated league. And then you have the also runs. And those teams like Carolina losing to New Orleans, Tampa Bay losing to Atlanta and New Orleans. The NFL is nuts, but it's good to see Jacksonville do what Jacksonville's doing.
Yeah, I'm afraid the Detroit Lions ain't going to make the playoffs.
8-6, and yesterday, that's just incredible how many injuries that team has to suffer throughout the season. It happened to them last year. It's happening to them again. I don't think Kansas City had a starting offensive lineman play yesterday, and if they did, it was only one. The Chargers have lost 3 offensive linemen. Starters that began the season, they're playing backups right now. So teams that are healthy usually are the ones that are going to survive this 18-game schedule or 17-game schedule, whatever it is now. And it's a war of attrition. That's what it is.
Justin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, I hope getting coaches from several different staffs helps with the portal. Last coach only brought players from Louisiana. Justin, that's not true. The 2 main players he brought from Louisiana were damn good football players. One was an All-American offensive lineman who still plays for the Buffalo Bills. The other one was a damn good running back in Montreal Johnson. Jim DK from Wisconsin, who is tearing it up in the National Football League. Elijah Badger from Arizona State. So that's not true. A lot of people are chiming in on the the state championship game between Vero Beach and Lake Mary. Lake Mary wins on a Hail Mary. I have never in all my years seen anything like that. It was incredible.
No,
if you've not seen it, people, you got to Google it. It's the greatest play you've ever seen in sports.
Yeah, I mean, to win it all in a play like that, those kids will remember that for the rest of their life. That's no on both sides.
Because if you didn't see it, they caught the Hail Mary, but the guy was being tackled on about the 3-yard line. Receiver / running back who was in the end zone for the Hail Mary came and just took the ball out of the kid's hand and ran into the end zone. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
The QB, the Gator football coach, is coaching this week. Friday night? No.
Saturday.
Right. Saturday at Mississippi. And I don't know how I'm going to do this on Friday, but I want to be out in Vegas watching these games.
That means you just got to get your ass up early. Some people, you got a commitment, JC, commitment.
Did you see? So once again, the under came in the Army-Navy game. I thought Army was the better team in that game.
Let me tell you something. I watched that game. I've never, and it happens every year. Crazy things happen in that game. Yeah. I mean, Blake Horvath gets hit and he'll fumble and the ball comes back to him. And then, Navy was going in on the 1-yard line. He went for quarterback sneak, ball pops out, guy scoops it up, guy rakes his arms, and then they recover it. So,
all Army has to do is fall on the ball. The guy had it right there in front of him, and that's what was driving Jeff Malkin crazy on the sideline. The defensive lineman didn't just fall on the ball. Army wins. But Navy pulled it out and won. You took Navy with the laying the points. You lost. I had Army. I thought Army played better in that game.
Well, let's talk about who you had in the Washington-Boise game.
You had Washington. But let's go through the list. Let's see. In the NFL, you had the Chiefs, Packers, Seahawks, Jets, and Dallas, losers. You do have Pittsburgh tonight. You won with New Orleans. I had the Chargers, Broncos, Jaguars, Vikings, winners, and my loser was Seattle and Carolina, who had a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Saints with a chance to take a 1-game lead on Tampa Bay and choked.
Anybody can win in the National Football.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is. Tampa Bay and Carolina now tied.
But the late game, the 2 games that were on TV in our area on regular cable, Broncos, Packers, Rams, Lions.
Good games.
Elite.
Good game.
Elite football.
Well, quarterback play was incredible. Bo Nix is unbelievable.
Tremendous
Stafford is
ballers in those games.
But look at the way these quarterbacks are executing. Some of the plays that Stafford makes every week just blows your mind. He's 30-something, 38. Bo Nix on the other hand, is very young, but he's really come in his own with Sean Payton there. I think we're setting up for some great playoff games in the NFL this year if the quarterbacks stay healthy, and they've done a great job protecting the quarterbacks. That was the purpose of all these soft rules. But Green Bay's in trouble. Losing Parsons is going to hurt them defensively. You can't make that guy. You can't make up for that guy. Jordan Love needs to play at home. For some reason, I
thought he played pretty well for the most part.
I think he did. I mean,
they had to kick too many field goals.
They couldn't put it in the end zone, QB. And by the way, did you watch the Heisman? Did you see the? Well,
I saw the replay of it, or like just the highlights.
Okay, so Fernando gives you a great story. He's giving you a great inspirational speech, and the look on Diego Pavia's face was absolute contempt for everything. And then, of course, after they're done, the after parties in New York City, and Diego and his little posse is dancing around in the clubs, F-bombing the voters, F-bombing.
Really? I didn't see that.
Oh, he's just F-bombing everybody because he's pissed. And he had to tweet a little apology. He's got to remember that he's interviewing for a job here really soon. And you can't show your ass and show immaturity to these NFL guys because they look at risk a lot harder sometimes than they look at potential. And sometimes that can hurt you when you show your fanny like that. And he was just an ungrateful loser. I still think I would have voted for him if I had the vote. And I definitely am pleased with Fernando winning it. But the numbers stack up better for Diego. But if the Heisman is more than just numbers, then I think Fernando is the right pick. But
well, it's usually whoever's has the. I mean, you can go back over the years of quarterbacks on like the number one team in America, right?
Yeah.
Usually win it.
Yeah. And listen, he finished the year undefeated. But in terms of passing attempts, he was one of the lowest winners ever. Daniels had 327. That was the next lowest passing attempts guy. Everybody else was in the 400s and 500s. He was, he sat in the fourth quarter, however, against games against Kennesaw State, Indiana State, Illinois, UCLA, Wisconsin, Maryland, Purdue, all these teams that he didn't have to play against in the fourth quarter because the game was out of hand. And his passing yards for a Heisman Trophy winner was the lowest out of the last 12. I mean, he had 29.80, but the next lowest was Jaden Daniels, 38.12. But, Eric Crouch won the Heisman Trophy, never passing the ball. So, basically.
He was on a number one team, wasn't he?
He was playing for Nebraska. That's right.
Yeah. Baron says on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plum, Fernando is better than Pavia and is a class act. He's got more upside. He's yes, from a professional standpoint, yes. Pavia has no chance playing the next level. Zero.
No, I mean he'll get looked at and he'll
go to camp and get cut.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
You think you don't think he can pass the ball good enough?
No.
Okay. All right.
John, Vince has got a good comment here on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. When Bo was at Auburn, would you have predicted he'd be this good? No. I remember me and Coach Spurrier doing a podcast talking about how bad Bo Nix was. But the asterisk by it is he played for Gus Malzahn. Gus is not good for anybody it is a run oriented offense that he coaches. And I was so surprised at Bo Nix at Auburn because he played for his dad.
Yeah.
Usually coaches' sons kind of know how to play the position. He had no clue.
Boy, he does now.
He figured it out at Oregon, and he's in a great situation with Sean Payton. And let me tell you something. They got dudes at wide receiver. My goodness.
They do have
dudes. They got dudes you never heard of.
Well, Cortland Sutton, and then
other than him.
Well, Franklin's been great this year. If you've been watching the NFL and you follow,
but I can tell you right now, I bet the Franklin kid who caught a touchdown, 99% of the people on this podcast don't know who the hell he is.
Well, that's because we're in North Central Florida and we follow the Bucks and the Jags and the Gators.
Well, I don't think many people know who the Jaguar receivers are other than the kid from LSU.
Brother, they will soon. I mean, Jacoby Myers has been an incredible pickup. If you don't follow the NFL, then certainly you're not going to know who these guys are. But Parker Washington has been there all year doing it for them. And, Brian Thomas Jr., I mean, did you not watch LSU play a couple years ago?
No, I know about Brian. I just said he's the only person that the average person would know.
No, they're playing their asses off. They're getting open for Trevor. They're giving him protection. And Trevor, or is it Trevor or Travis Etienne? Etienne's running his tail off and scoring touchdowns. This team is dialed in because Liam Cohen knows what the hell he's doing on offense. I thought Doug Peterson did too. But the reality is that some quarterbacks just do it better with different coaches. And I think this Lawrence is. I was the first guy to criticize Lawrence. I was not a Trevor Lawrence fan early in the year, but he has clearly gotten better and gotten help. And the management team at Jacksonville went out at the trade deadline, got Jacoby Myers, who was being wasted in Las Vegas, and brought him into Jacksonville. And look at how he's producing right now for them. And he's helping the other guys like Parker Washington get open. And it's just a great thing to watch. I mean, 6 touchdown passes, QB. You don't see that in the NFL that often. It's a lot.
It is a lot. Electronics World Integration Design Special, Smart Home Automation, Entertainment. Let Electronics World bring the Florida Gators basketball and the NFL to your living room. Check them out, electronicsworld.com. We'll have Mark Long of the Associated Press, second portion of today's program.
He's going to tell you everything. Yeah, he's going to tell you everything I just said about the Jags. It's incredible how they've turned this thing around. It's great.
John on Facebook Live, I wanted to bring this up too because some of these state championship games across the country were incredible. He said, did you see the state championship game in Louisiana where they just had to take a knee, which they did, but then the offensive lineman takes his helmet off and they get an unsportsmanlike penalty. Then the punter shanks and the other team wins it on a field goal. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
You're taking a knee to end the game, but you get unsportsmanlike. You have to punt instead. And you lose on a last-second field goal.
That sounds like a Mario Cristobal finish right there. That kind of
which
stuff,
is fine in a regular game, but not in your high school.
not in the
game.
right, not in a do or die situation.
These are things that will haunt you the rest of your life.
Yes, they will. Yeah. What's Michigan going to do about a coach, QB?
I would say Jed Fish has a good chance of getting that job, but I think they're not gonna hire and they're gonna do away with anybody that Jim Harbaugh had any relationship with or coached there under him.
No, you got Brian Kelly sitting out there.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I could absolutely see that happening. Former Notre Dame guy. But are you excited at all about these playoff games, or is it they just kind of?
Oh, I love. Dude, I'm one of those guys. I don't worry about
who's playing,
how much a team is favored by. I don't care if people think it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to watch it anyway. I do think Tulane's going to give Ole Miss a little issue.
I see that one being closer than the Oregon JMU.
Well, James Madison just didn't have the dudes. Let's be honest.
No, they don't. I don't like the idea that you have to put these teams in to make people feel good. I want the best teams in the field, and clearly they missed that.
I don't have to have the best teams. I need just a formula and stick to the formula. It's if you win your conference championship game, you are in regardless of your record. You have a championship. So I do believe Duke should be in. I'm under the belief of that, whether it's right or wrong. But it's just like in the NFL, JC, you don't get the best 12.
Yeah, I guess
you're going to get the Buccaneers and the Panthers in. Okay. They're not one of the best 12 or best 14.
No, I would agree with that, but they have divisions, like you said.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But it's going to be a change. The Detroit Lions, who are damn good, are better than the Bucks, and they're better than the freaking Panthers. They're not going to make the playoffs, probably.
I just don't know, though, if I compare NFL division winners with NCAA conference champions in certain.
What's the difference?
Well, I just think the scheduling is different. The conferences themselves.
I do agree with that, but look at the NFC South. Okay, you got the Falcons, the Bucks, the Saints, and the Panthers. Tell me that ain't any better than the ACC.
It's a bad year for that division.
Right.
But when have you ever saw the Sun Belt Conference give you the potential for a national champion.
The
Or
Sun Belt is a group of 5, JC. We're talking ACC.
the group of 5 has got 2 teams in it.
Right, but that's because of highest rank. That has nothing to do with their winning their championship.
I would rather see the 12 best. I'd rather see Texas and Notre Dame in this. And I think when they go to 16 games, we're not going to have this issue anymore. And that's coming. That's absolutely coming. Just like the 9-game conference schedule came, the 16-game playoff or team playoff system is coming. It's a lock. If you have any futures ability to bet on that, do it. You're going to win that bet. They are going to go to 16. We just can't keep having these years where we have such questions about these playoff teams. I mean, last year we saw some just dog games, and if that's what they want, if they want to have, highly rated teams blowing out teams that are of very little consequence, if that's what you're looking for, then I guess you have it. But that's not what I think the playoffs should be about. And this isn't the NFL. You're picking teams. You're not qualifying. You're picking teams.
But if you have they do have qualifications.
5
that's why
conference winners.
Right. That's why you're getting in the group of 5. There's qualifications. But if they're going to keep the championship games, I believe the championship winner, regardless of your record, should get in. Yeah. That's just my belief.
Well, you had a couple conferences winners that didn't get in, but the Duke 5-loss Blue Devils shouldn't have even played in that game. QB.
That's not their fault.
It's not their fault, but they were inserted in a game they didn't deserve to play in. And Miami was sitting there at the house.
So did Miami deserve to be in it?
I think more so than Duke, yes.
Okay, well, they didn't win the correct games, obviously.
Well, they won more games, and they also
but that's not the thing. If you look, I think Duke's outer conference where all their losses came from.
Duke had 3, if you want to call them, ACC losses, and only 2 counted. That is stupid. That is stupid.
Well, that's not their fault. It's not their fault. They won the ACC championship.
And all I'm saying is that's fine. You can call them entitled the ACC champions, but nobody in hell cares because Miami's the one playing for the real prize. And Notre Dame should be in there as well. We all know this. And I don't know why we have to put up with this incompetence one year after the next and have all this controversy. Make it simple. Say, here are the 16 best teams, everybody, based on our rankings that we are consistently showing you every week from middle of October into December, and play them off. Why do we have to have this DEI for a college football playoff? That's clearly what James Madison is. They have no chance of winning anything, and we all know it. But we're going to watch it. And we're going to hope they cover 20 if we bet them. That's it.
Toby says on YouTube, brought to you by Kawhi Plum, is Colin Klein and Jay Bateman coaching for A&M against Miami, or did they leave for K-State and Kentucky? No, they're coaching. Colin Klein will be your new head coach at K-State. Jay Bateman is the new DC at Kentucky.
First of all, Barone, you're forgetting that Duke, yes, had 2 ACC losses that counted. They lost to NC State. That should have counted.
Every ACC team, I mean, every year they have one of those games that doesn't count on the conference.
And it's dumb.
I agree. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. On this day in 2002 and 2008, 2 really good quarterbacks who were both the first pick of the draft, one from Southern Cal and one from Oklahoma, won the Heisman Trophy. Got any idea who they might be, JC?
One from Oklahoma and Southern Cal won the Heisman Trophy.
And they were both the first pick of the draft.
If I thought about this for 30 seconds longer, I could tell you, but I don't want to.
One is Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
The other is Carson Palmer.
Yeah, CP. Sam Bradford, boy, I tell you, he didn't last long in the league. He had injuries. But honest to God, folks, I mean, just try to be honest with yourself for 5 seconds and ask yourself, if Miami and Duke played tomorrow, who would be favored and who would likely win the game? Doesn't mean they would, but who would be favored to win the game? If James Madison played Notre Dame or Texas, who would be favored to win the game? Can we just quit BSing ourselves and pretending like we're trying to make everybody happy and just do it the right way once in our life? That's all I'm asking college football to do once. They're going to get it right at some point, but God.
Well, no, even when they go to 16 or 24, there's still going to be issues. There's always going to be issues. Always. There's never going to be a perfect format. ever.
Well,
It's not possible.
with 16 teams, I think that's the magic number. That's just what I think. Some folks hate it. They think that dilutes the regular season. I think every game matters, and I don't think that it will ever dilute the regular season. You're still going to go watch your team play on Saturday, and you're going to hope they win, and they're going to try to win. But at 16 teams, I think is the number we should be looking at. You say 24, so
I love 24 because that's what the FCS does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of automatic bids, and then they have at-large bids.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Zach on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Shane, should we go after Sam Levitt? Seems like the perfect fit for Faulkner offense, or at least his type, very athletic. I don't know what their plans are. I have heard they're bringing in a quarterback. I just don't know who it is. My guess would be Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Text on the Titan Mark text line says, good morning, Shane. Good to see DJ linking up with trainers to work on his weight loss, speed, and coordination with the right coaching. I think he'll be very good next season. We'll see. We'll see.
What's going on the hard court real quick, QB?
They beat George Washington by 10 down in Sunrise. They should win all the rest of their games before they get into conference play. I think they open up after the new year out in Missouri.
I got handed to them for playing these games.
It's been great.
Going on these, in my mind, the Gators, the only thing I've seen that's of concern is their three-point shooting. I think they're around 26% three-point shooting, and they are very lowly ranked with that. But isn't Urban Clapchar, isn't he a really good three-point shooter? And has he played a lot yet or not?
Yeah, he plays a lot.
Well, then I'm surprised they rank so low with three-point shooting, because he's a great three-point shooter, I would think. But they have a quad one win. The 4 losses have come by a combined 15 points. And are to 3 of the top 7 teams. And speaking of the top 7 teams, I watched Arizona just bury Alabama in the second half at Birmingham in a game that was close. And it really does show you that some of these teams that are really highly ranked, Duke, Michigan State, Arizona, they are good.
I think the best teams in American basketball, and they're clearly better than everybody. It's Arizona, Duke, Michigan, and
Duke.
No,
Michigan
I think Duke's average.
What about Michigan? Well, yeah, they won.
I don't think Michigan State's great either. It's Purdue, Arizona, Michigan. Those 3 teams are clearly better than everybody else in America right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think Arizona is just pushing people around. But
Michigan's average margin of victory is like 20-something points, and they've played some really good teams.
Yeah, I think the Big Ten the Big Ten's going to be interesting. Well, the traditional teams in the Big Ten, there's some in the Big Ten that aren't going to be that good. But I definitely agree with you. Michigan is and Purdue, isn't Purdue really big in the front court? They're always good up front.
They're just good every year, and they have a lot of guys back from last year's team. But Michigan, to me, right now, is just
what are they good at? Are they good at guards? Are they good at the front
Michigan's
court?
got it all, man. They beat Connecticut. I mean, they beat Gonzaga, who's like number 10 in America, by like 60.
Okay. Well, I just have to say, I was watching a little basketball for the first time, and as we go through December here, and I was impressed with Arizona, what they did to Alabama.
Oh, they're very, very good.
Almighty. But Florida has really had some really, if you want to call them, good losses, and this guy who hit the 3 to beat them at Duke. Look, I think Duke's very good. You say they're average. I don't think they're average.
I don't think they're as good as they've been in the past. We'll see. JC, we got to actually get to Mark. I forgot. Time has flown
Big
by.
Mark. All right.
Have a great day. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by Mark Long from the AP. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother, Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by
Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Williston Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Back to the Titan & More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by our good friend Mark Long from the Associated Press, who was in Jacksonville yesterday watching the mighty Jaguars put it on them. What's up, Mark? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing well. How are you, Shane?
So let's start with the Jags, since you cover them. Man, what a season in year one for Liam Cohen.
Yeah, big, huge surprise, honestly. And really, you go through those first-year coaches, Vrabel in New England, Ben Johnson in Chicago, and Liam Cohen in Jacksonville. All of them are surprises. I could argue, and I would argue, that are the biggest surprise, just given the history of the franchise, the dysfunction of the franchise, the state of the roster. We didn't think it was maybe this good. And they found a way, and they keep getting better every single week. Trevor Lawrence is ascending. You're finally starting to see a little bit of what the Jags thought they were getting when they drafted Trevor Lawrence first overall in 2021. 6 touchdowns yesterday, 5 of them passing, career high, best performance in franchise history, his best passer rating, just really dominated the Jets. And it's a bad Jets team, let's be honest, but it really dominated the Jets start to finish. But again, in this league, I don't care. This isn't, you're not playing our Sisters of the Poor here. This isn't an FBS school. I mean, FBS versus FCS. This is still the NFL. These guys got a lot of pride. and doesn't matter their record, they show up. And, you can go around the league any given week, any given season, and find good teams that lose to bad teams late in the year. It just happens. Nature of the NFL. And for the Jags to win like they did is pretty telling about where their confidence is and their belief in this thing, ending in the playoffs and maybe even including a playoff run.
Yeah, so you look at their schedule. Obviously, the Jags, they sit in a good position right now, but they have to play at Denver next week, which, boy, that's going to be a heck of a ball game.
Yeah, it's really, this is their season in terms of if they're going to host a playoff game versus being on the road. If they win this game, somehow go into Denver and win. I think Denver's undefeated at home. Very good. Obviously, one of the better defenses in the league. They've got some things rolling with Bo Nix. I think he threw for 304 touchdowns yesterday. So, but if the Jags can somehow go on the road and win this game, then all of a sudden they're sitting really pretty in terms of winning the AFC South and hosting a first-round game. If they lose this with Houston coming, and Houston's as hot as anybody in the league almost, then they're probably looking at a wild card, be it the 5 seed, being on the road at Pittsburgh or Baltimore in the first week of the season. Again, either way, nobody's counting this team out because of what they've done on both sides of the ball.
Text here on the Titan MR text line from Jimmy. He says, Mark, do you think with Travis Hunter going out and for the year, this has made this team a lot better?
Yeah, I do. I don't know that it's made them better, but I do think this. It took away an element where I don't think they knew how to play Travis Hunter. They didn't know where he fit. They were trying to work him in on certain downs on defense, trying to work him in on certain downs on offense. Now then, with all that said and done, before he got hurt on a Thursday in practice, he was going to be their number one receiver. They were going to run the offense through him, at the X receiver spot. They had moved on from Brian Thomas Jr. a little bit, was just we're going to make Brian Thomas kind of a secondary role and see what Hunter had in that spot. Now then, it didn't work out. They go out and trade for Jacoby Myers, and Myers has been fantastic. Catches every ball almost in his radius. Very, very good route runner, seasoned vet, seasoned pro. Trevor Lawrence has a lot of confidence in this guy. And that's kind of been really probably one of the differences in their season on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know how Travis Hunter would have fit there. We'll never know. But I know Jacoby Myers is their number one receiver right now and a guy they're trying to get signed up long-term before free agency.
When you look how Trevor's played the last, several weeks, is it all due to Liam Cohen in your view?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I do think this is a team that led the league in drops. They had a lot of penalties early in the year, getting themselves behind the sticks, right? Second and long, first and long. So that stuff, they've cleaned up a lot of that stuff. They've now, no longer the worst team in the league in terms of drops. Jacoby Myers has been a big addition from that standpoint. Tim Patrick as well. Brian Thomas Jr., we mentioned him earlier, also has kind of, gotten his head straight and played a lot better in a reserve role. So all of that, but yeah, it's really Trevor. It's a little combination of Liam Cohen figuring out what Trevor does well, Trevor figuring out what the offense is supposed to look like, what they want it to look like, kind of his role in it. He's using his legs a lot more, running with the ball, scrambling, that +1 mentality. So all of that has just factored in. And again, they've played some bad teams. Let's not sugarcoat that. I think pretty favorable schedule here, second half of the season. But you can't deny what they did early in beating Houston, beating Kansas City, and beating San Francisco. I think in consecutive weeks early in the year really set the tone and started them on this trajectory that they're on now.
Yeah. Let's switch gears. A lot of people are asking your thoughts on the coaching hires John Summerall has brought about. I guess news broke or is breaking or should break. Your thoughts on Marcus Davis for the wide receiver coach? You know much about him?
I don't. I do know this. He was at Auburn, and Cam Coleman, I watched Cam Coleman last year. I think the world of him. I think he's a fantastic coach. I'm not quite sure they got as much as they should out of a talent like Cam Coleman, but With that said, they had all kinds of quarterback issues. It was arguably the worst offensive line in the league. And quarterback, I think they used 3 different quarterbacks during the course of the season. Obviously, Hugh Freeze gets fired because of his inability to fix the quarterback position and the offense in Auburn. So hard to really judge what Marcus Davis did there. But I like the hire. I like all the hires. And what I will say is it's a solid staff. I think the coordinator hires are home runs, both of them. And then you look at it, it just doesn't look like there's holes. Now, again, the staff has yet to be filled out. But this is not what we saw with Napier, Mullen, McElwain, where they hired buddies, they hired friends, they hired guys who needed a job. And you can't go about life like that. And this is not that. And he's going to have some guys on his staff from Tulane. There's no doubt about it. We know, I think the strength and conditioning coach, maybe the special teams coach, inside linebackers coach, I think is all these guys are coming with him from Tulane, I believe. So, but not a bunch, right? Not a lot of guys. This is not a Billy Napier staff. This is going to be a well-run, pick a few guys here and there to fill in. But when you look at certainly Buster Faulkner from Georgia Tech and Brad White from Kentucky, those are the big two. And I think those are fantastic starts for what he's trying to build here.
Couple of questions here from different people. One's about Cam Coleman. You think there's any chance he transfers to Florida if the receiver coach comes? And then secondly, there's been reports out there, and I still think it's going to happen. Buster Faulkner possibly bringing Aaron Philo, the quarterback, with him. Whether it's him, I've heard they're bringing in a quarterback. What have you heard?
Yeah, I heard Philo early on, and then actually last night I heard 50-50, right? A little more iffy on Aaron Philo. So I don't know if Georgia Tech's doing its thing to try to make him stay there, giving him a king's ransom. Everybody can find money these days. So maybe Georgia Tech's born and raised in Georgia, broke all of Trevor Lawrence's high school passing records in the state. So he is very highly regarded at Georgia Tech, very highly regarded, within the state. And again, Haynes King did some great things. I think Haynes King had 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 12 passing, 15 rushing, I believe, almost rushed for 1,000 yards. So if you're Aaron Philo, yeah, Faulkner's got to be a draw, but are you going to compete versus being handed the keys to a pretty good team and a pretty good offense? I don't know. A lot of it may depend on who Georgia Tech hires at OC. But, some of those decisions, absolutely. And the reality is it probably comes down to money. What is Florida willing to pay? And do they see Aaron Philo as a slam dunk starter? Are they going to give him starter money? DJ Lagway come back? What happens with Tramel Jones? I'm not sure if I'm Aaron Philo, I'm going to step into a situation where DJ Lagway is here and Tramel Jones is here, and they just signed a recruit, a quarterback freshman. So it just seems a little pretty crowded versus being, given the starting job at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's a good point. Bob on the Titan More text line wants to know, do you have any idea or have you heard of any of the Gator players that may enter the portal after the new year?
Well, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of them. I think retaining Gerald Chapman is huge. I think when you look at Brennan Bett, Joseph Mbachu, Jeremiah McLeod, Makai Barrow, Taylor Bryant, those guys you want to keep, right? They're guys who are young kids who were ascending players on that D-line. I think you can build around them. There are going to be a lot of attrition on this roster. It's natural, right? In this term, in this day and age, that guys are going to jump. I think one of the issues right now for this staff is figuring out who is going to stay, because you're going through it. You got all these new coaches. They're going through, first and foremost, you go through the Florida players and find out who do you want to keep. Well, here's the issue. They're all reluctant to sign because once the portal opens, then offers are going to start coming. And it's like free agency, Shane, in the NFL, where there's no incentive for them to sign with Florida right now until the portal opens. Somebody loses somebody they didn't expect. All of a sudden they get desperate. The price goes up. All of that, supply and demand, right? So I think for right now, I think there's a huge guessing game for the Florida staff and the new coaches trying to figure out who actually they all say they want to stay, right? Or expect to stay, but nobody's signing paperwork to stay right now. They're pushing it. It's really I don't want to say a disservice, but the players have all the power right now in terms of, not having a deadline to sign, the transfer portal opening up here in a couple of weeks officially. And, teams the price is only going to go up the longer you're able to hold out. Now then, with that said, you're going to go start looking for replacements at some point, right? And that's where Florida is. If these guys aren't going to sign, I got to go find somebody equal or maybe even better in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting now because I have so many buddies of mine are like, we got to keep this guy, that guy, that guy. I said, look, I get it. I said, but you as a fan like that guy because he's on your team right now. The new coaches may not like him at all because they
Right.
might need somebody better. So it's
But
going to be
with that said, Shane, obviously some clear targets, right? We think Miles Graham and BB3 are locks because of what they've said and their relationships. And then I think you got to look at Jaden Baugh
Yes.
is a must. Cam James is a must. Jaden Woods is a must. Javari Flowers, I'm hearing great things of what they think of Javari Flowers and how he played down the stretch is a must. So those are, in my opinion, Dallas Wilson is a must. Aaron Gates, maybe Childs, Caden Jones. I'd like to see more of him, at the tackle position. So those guys are, to me, the core. You got to look, and I mentioned those defensive linemen. Everywhere else, you got to look at it and say, can we upgrade there? Can we upgrade in the secondary? Can we upgrade on the offensive line? Can we upgrade at those backup receiver positions? Can we upgrade at tight end? And I think you got to figure out when the portal opens, who's in, who's out, and whether you can upgrade. And you got to try to upgrade a lot of those positions because the reality is it wasn't good enough.
Agree. Text here from William on the Titan of our text line. Do you think any of the other staff that have not been retained, will they be retained? I'm not sure.
No, I think Gerald Chapman's the only
one
position coach who's going to stick around. I believe Mike Peterson has been offered a role within the program as a player development role. And I think that's smart to keep some former players tied to the team, especially when you've got a guy coming in and John Summerall who's not a Gator and a lot of his staff are not Gators. So to keep Brandon Spikes, to keep Mike Peterson in the building is huge because those are the guys who can tell you about the rivalries. Those are the guys who can tell you why you hate Florida State, why you hate Tennessee, Georgia. So I think that's an important role. And if you don't have that in your coaches, I think you gotta find it somewhere.
Castaway hot sauce with real flavor, not just heat and vinegar, built by Gators for Gators. Castaway hot sauce available at Publix. A few more minutes here with Mark Long from the Associated Press. Switch gears to basketball real quick. They get a win against George Washington. They're going to win their next few games before conference play. Just your overall assessment. I mean, obviously they have 4 losses. 3 of them are against very good teams. Any concerns? I know everybody's concerned about the backcourt, but your concerns from what you've seen?
Yeah, obviously the backcourt, the shooting, the ability to make shots in crunch time. It was what was their strength last year with Walter Clayton, and it's obviously their weakness now. I think we're starting to see some signs with Xavier Lee's coming around, playing to where you think he could play. I think he hit 4 threes the other day against George Washington, really just looks smooth. The big concern, and it's everybody's, is Boogie Fland. What is he? Are these two oil and water in the backcourt? Is it just not blending, mixing very well? That's what it looks like from afar. What can you do about it? That's the big question. I don't know that you can. Maybe you bring Boogie Fland off the bench, and you get who's the other guard? Urban Klazar. Maybe you put Urban in the starting lineup and maybe separate Lee and Fland a little bit and see how that goes. But again, there are issues with with Urban Clavsar in terms of his defensive ability, some of that stuff, ball handling. So there's a weakness here. I don't know what they're going to do, but this is the reality: is their front court is so good, it's going to be able to mask that against most teams, and even in the SEC. I think what we've seen so far is the SEC is a little bit down, at least compared to last year, which was a historic year with 14 teams in the NCAA tournament, but a little bit of a step back, a little bit down. So I think the Gators are going to be fine. They've got to be able to find a way to just create some shooting, right? Create a little bit more. And Todd Golden will argue that they're getting open looks. Well, I think we saw in the second half of that game against George Washington is forget about the 3-point line, get the ball down in the paint, get something closer to the rim, and take your chances with one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country.
Yeah. All right. One last thing back to football. Is Bam Hardman coming, you think, as the linebacker coach?
I heard no. I heard he has not been asked to come, and if he would have been asked to come, he would have been asked by now, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't go back to Tulane and spend 2 weeks getting that team ready for the postseason and not have a pretty good idea of who's coming with him.
And then the last one on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Do you think any of the off the field people get retained like Katie Turner and Hamilton?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say yes. I would say they know what they're doing. He's coming into a position. It's almost like PR staff a little bit. These people are running the outside items. And if you're John Summerall, you're stepping in. You don't really want to go wholesale changing those things, like the Gator Made program, the recruiting visits. By all regards, Katie Turner's great at her job, right? So why would you want to mess that up unless you had somebody already doing that role at an unbelievably high level? And I'm not sure whatever you're doing at Tulane, really is comparable to what's happening in Gainesville and at Florida.
That must be her husband. I think was like the assistant to Billy G, wide receiver coach. So I guess he'll be retained as well.
Yeah, it's probably a package deal, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Mark, good stuff as always. Let everybody know how they can listen to you and Edgar's podcast and follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, we're on any available platform, streaming podcasts. You can find us Swamp Things. That's how you find us, Florida Gator Podcast.
Sounds like a movie or something, Swamp Things.
Swamp Things. Well, if you look at me and Edgar, we look like Swamp Things sometimes, most of the time. Appreciate your time. Happy holidays, my man. Thanks, you too, Shane. That's Mark Long. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Injuries occur whenever and however, and it's never convenient for sprains, strains, and minor fractures. UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you. 7 days a week, including evenings. Walk-ins are welcome. Check them out. UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. That's going to do it for today. Appreciate everybody chiming in. We'll see you tomorrow, people. Take care.